Hey there guys, so in the previous video where we talked about tires, I basically gave you guys 4 options and let you vote on which one you wanted to see the next review on. And I let that video stay posted for a couple of days and then I tallied up the votes. I'm sure that since then there's been more votes and I do appreciate it. But there was a big sale going on at the vendor where I get tires, and so that weekend I needed to go ahead and make a decision. I waited a couple of days, tallied up the votes, and it came up to be pretty much a dead heat tie between this tire, the Yokohama Geolandar MT, and the General Grabber X3. So at that point I basically had to make a decision, and I ended up obviously going with the Yokohama for a few reasons. Number one, the pricing on this tire was much lower. Secondly, I'm running Yokohama tires, the X003s right now, and they've been fantastic. They balance well, they wear well, nice and smooth, great traction, just a great tire. So I figured that, I couldn't go wrong trying out the MT, which is based upon the same tire carcass, just with a different tread pattern. And secondly, this tire is more lightweight, checking in at 66 pounds, which is not too bad for a 10-ply, 35-inch mud tire. So let's take a look at it and see what we've got here. So I have to admit that when I put that poll up and let you guys vote, I expected the BF Goodrich to kind of run away with it, and it ended up being a distant third place finisher. Very surprising to me, but this tire got a lot of votes, and so did the General. The Kumo didn't get any votes, surprisingly, even though it is the newest tire in that option list that I basically gave you guys. Anyway, Yokohama makes an excellent tire. The thing about the X003s, now they're awesome tires. You've heard me say that many times. The one thing that I don't really like about them is the way they pick up gravel. I mean, even here in the barn, I've got gravel driveway. It goes out to a gravel private lane, which goes out to a gravel county road. I mean, there's gravel everywhere. And the X003s, like a lot of all-terrain tires, have a tendency to really pick up gravel, especially out here in the outer channels. And then when you hit pavement again, those rocks come out and bash your rocker panels, your fenders, and everything else. So that's one reason why I really like these mud tires. And this one in particular looks like it's going to be the best that there is at this. See how huge the void is out here? I mean, just a gigantic void. There's no way that these small crushed stones that I use are going to get picked up by this tire. So my experience in the past with mud terrain tires has been that you can drive gravel roads with them and they don't really pick up much. I mean, you occasionally are going to get one in the center tread, but you're very rarely going to see gravel getting trapped out here in the outer lugs, which is really good. It protects your paint, and it's just one of those functional things that a lot of guys don't think about. Now, this particular tire has a lot of features in it, as you know. I mean, you can obviously see the siping and all of the tread blocks. So for a mud terrain tire, it should be pretty decent in foul weather. Obviously, we're going to find that out with this long-term review that's coming up. You've got these ejector bars in between the outer lugs, so that helps to prevent mud from getting sucked in and trapped in there. And it also can help to kick rocks out. If you get some larger stones that try to get in there, those can kind of kick those out as well. You've got these wear bars. You can see it going all the way across there to show you what the legal tread depth is, at least in most places. So there's some cool technology here. You can see how sharply angled the tread blocks are around the center of the tire. That circumferential ring that goes around the center of the tire got some really sharply angled tread blocks, and I think that they probably did that to reduce noise. The more parallel to the road surface the tread blocks are, the quieter the tire is going to be. So this center tread patch should let the tire run pretty quiet down the road. But then obviously you've got these huge chunky voids out here for your mud traction. Now, you guys have probably already seen the sidewalls on the Yokohama. They're very aggressive. I mean, that's almost like some full tread blocks out here on the sidewalls, very aggressive. Something that I really love is this bead protection flange to help protect your wheel. You know, the lip of your wheel is going to ride up in here. And so if you do happen to get up against a root or a rock or even a curb out on the street, it's going to give you some level of protection for your wheels, which is really nice. That's something that BF Goodrich used to really do a lot of, and they've kind of stopped doing it. And I don't really know why, to be completely honest. So let's talk about sizing on this tire. And this is where it gets kind of interesting. So in this ballpark, around say a 35-inch tire for an 18-inch wheel, by the way, there's basically 3 different sizes you can get this tire in that are all really close to one another. This one is the 295/70. You can also get a 305/70. And then of course they have the standard size 35/1250. If you look at the listings on the Yokohama website, they're all within just a 1/4 of an inch of one another, which means that at any given spot around the tire, you're talking 1/8 of an inch difference. So it's indetectable to the naked eye. You're not going to visually be able to tell any difference. Practically speaking, there's not going to be any difference. 1/8 of an inch of ground clearance is, I mean, it's really nothing in the grand scheme of things. So, you know, like this tire is listed at 34.4. The 35/1250 stamped tire is like 34.7 maybe. So they're all like right in there within a 1/4 inch. Super, super close in diameter. The 295 is a little bit narrower than the 35/1250. I'm going to show you some clips where we measured the 33/1250 that's on the truck right now, and on these wheels that I have, it's only 12 inches wide. It's not really a full 12.5, it's more 12 inches. Now if you had them on a 10-inch wheel, you might see the full 1250, but on a 9-inch wheel or less, you're probably going to see 12 inches or less like I did. That's more like it. Now with these sticks on here, we'll be able to get an accurate reading of just how wide this tire really is. Can you let that one down just a little bit so it matches this one? Looks like we got about 12 inches. About 12 inches right there. Of course the camera never does it justice because it's so, for one thing, it won't focus. There we go, that's better. 12 inches. 12 inches. So that's a 9-inch wheel width-wise, and supposed to be a 1250 width tire. But on the 9-inch wheel, see, they usually measure these on 10-inch wheels. That's what they normally do. But this is a 9-inch wheel, so I guess it's sucking the tire sidewalls in just a little bit. These are like 11 inches unmounted. I'm thinking that once I mount them up, they're probably going to be 11.5. So there's going to end up being about a 1/2 inch of width difference between the 295 and the 1250 standard size. So that's where most of the difference comes from, is in the width. You've got about a 1/2 inch of difference there. Now again, a 1/2 inch is not really a whole lot if you think about it. And the diameter's really close. So all 3 of those sizes are basically a 35-inch tire. The reason I went with this one is, like I said, the weight's a little less, 66 pounds versus low 70s for the other 2 options. So you save several pounds per tire of weight. The price was much lower on these as well. It's an E-rated tire, which I think the other 2 were also, but you can get into the F-rated sizes also, which is way overkill for a 1/2-ton truck. So I liked the fact that this one is lighter, it's cheaper, and I think that for the wheels that I have, which again are 9-inch wheels, I think this is going to work out better because the tread width here is 9.6 inches. And the rule of thumb that I've always gone by is that your tread width, not the section width of the tire, but the tread width should be equal to or just a little bit greater than the width of your wheels. That way you're getting the optimum wear out of your tires, the best performance. I mean, certainly you can use a narrower tire or a wider tire, but if you keep the tread width really close to your wheel width, you're going to end up having better wear and better performance and better longevity out of your tires. And this one is the closest that you could get to that rule of thumb for a 9-inch wheel. So anyway, kind of went with these. I guess you could call it a 35 1150 or a 35 by 12 pretty much for all intents and purposes. So of course the elephant in the room is road noise. That's the biggest concern that I have with those huge outer blocks. It makes you really wonder if this tire is going to be really loud and noisy, or is it going to ride pretty comfy? Time will tell. So again, I just appreciate all the votes and all the views and the comments you guys left. It's going to be really interesting to try this tire out. We're going to tow with it, pretty heavy duty stuff, hauling, interstate trips to go to campsites. We're going to do a little off-road when winter time comes back around. Of course, we're a long way from there now, but when it comes back around, we'll see how these do in the snow and the ice. We'll get a lot of heavy rain this spring and this summer. So we'll put these tires through their paces and try them out in every environment possible, and we'll see how they do and how they wear and everything else. So stay with us, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It's going to be interesting, guys, and thanks for watching. I'm thinking about giving this set right here to my father because he's got 18-inch wheels on his truck. He's been looking for some wheels and tires, not really sure what he wants to go with. He's kind of hesitant to pull the trigger, but this is the exact size that he wants, and so I'm thinking about giving him these as a gift. He's done so many things for me and my wife and my son, his grandson, so get that stone out of the tire. So I may do that. That might be something really cool to do. It would help him out, and I would be able to continue to monitor the wear of these and do some updates on these for you guys and see how many miles we end up getting out of them. So that might be the best way to go.